How are we, guys? So I'm here with James Cant, IFBB Pro and owner of JCF Coaching.
How are ya?
So today we're going to be interviewing James and pretty much going through everything that he'll be touching base on in the up-and-coming physique coaching apprenticeship, which launches in May. So James is actually going to be presenting on all things digestive health, neurotransmitters, I guess, kind of in that realm, and also what it takes to become an IFBB Pro, because obviously all you guys out there are going to be coaching athletes, getting people into peak condition and really good condition. So obviously mental strength comes into that massively. So first question, mate, tell us a little bit about your journey so far and how you got to where you are now.
Yeah, it's been a long journey. See, I started lifting when I was 14, so I'm now 24, started when I was 14, so I've been lifting for over a decade now. Actually, geez, I might have been 13 when I started. And I pretty much, when I first started, I got dragged out of bed by the older boys. So I was at boarding school, and I was little 12, 13-year-old James, and the big kids who were 17, 18, they said, "Cant, you're not in the A's for footy yet. You need to get up and get out." So they dragged me out of bed at 5:30, made me go lift weights with them. And that's pretty much how I started getting into it. And then from there, I just kind of got hooked. I mean, I was always playing rugby. I was always very, very competitive. I was like that really annoyingly competitive kid. The one that's a pain in the ass that you all hate, that was me. And so I was constantly trying to get up into the top footy teams, wanted to go somewhere with it, but I was just always too small. I was competing with guys who were almost a year older than me. So sometimes more than a year older than me. And I was just way too small. So that's where I started lifting. And then when I reached year 12, and which is like the peak of what should have been my footy career, I did both my knees. So I did my left knee, came back from that, and then 2 weeks later, did my right knee. So this is pretty much footy gone. I thought, well, I can't play footy, so I might as well get big. So I started lifting, and it's just, training for schoolies. And that's where it really kicked off. Yeah, we've all been there. It's a good time. I mean, it doesn't really change much. You train for schoolies at school, and you train for stereotyping out of school. But yeah, so that's where it started. I started lifting heavily, and then, I actually, when I came out of school, went into uni, I actually got picked up by a couple of photographers and whatnot, and they said, you should do these competitions. So I started going into them. I met my coach, Rawdon, who's also presenting. And so I started training with him, competed in my first comp, and then won that comp, and then just kind of went on from there and did comp after comp after comp. And then at the same time I was studying medical science. So that's where I kind of got the idea that you really need to both be an athlete and also learn the reasons why everything works as an athlete behind the scenes. So I completed my degree in medical science. I did that at Macquarie University, and then obviously went on with competing to go compete as an IFBB Pro, which is probably the most prestigious bodybuilding organisation in the world, and so I've competed at that at all sorts of levels. And then that's where I am today. I started running my business, my coaching company when I was at university, so I started coaching a heap of elite bodybuilders and athletes. I actually coached 3 international athletes before I started charging anyone, which is one thing you'll hear me harp on about. But yeah, that's pretty much my story, where I've started from being a little scrawny kid to where I am now, just a slightly less scrawny big kid.
Yeah, tell us a little bit more about JCF and kind of what's going on there and what the service includes.
Yeah, definitely. So with my company, it's called JCF, so very creative, James Cant Fitness, JCF. And what we do is we're a team, so we actually coach people as a team. So all of our clients have a whole heap of people watching around. It's different coaches watching around, and they get very fast support, and that's what we're focused on. Our main clientele are normally type A personalities, so people who are like, we're paying you for results and nothing else. So we're not the type of company that just sits around and bloody holds your hand. We're very much results driven, and that's all we really care about. We focus predominantly on digestive issues, very much digestive issues. We've got a lot of clients for that. Bodybuilding prep, autoimmune issues, lots of things like that, where people want to not only look better, but be healthier as well, which is a big difference for us, because we feel that looking good should be a side effect of good health. If you're healthy internally, you're going to look wicked externally, and we don't try to drive the external too much at the expense of the internal health. So yeah, that's pretty much a good little summary of what we do.
You're talking about digestive health, and I know you're massive on it.
Yeah.
How important is digestive health and things like keeping your neurotransmitters optimal and at their peak and working well? How important is that to getting the best results possible for your clients?
It's essential. If you sacrifice digestive health, everything goes to crap. You see, people these days are so bloody focused on calories and macronutrients and that's it, and they don't care about it. They think, okay, yeah, I've got 100 calories in this palm here, I'm going to put it in, that means therefore I get 100 calories and whatever macronutrients are here. Well, it actually has to get digested, and it actually has to go into the body somehow, and the big gateway is the digestive system. So if you're messing with the digestive system, you are altering the way that your calories are absorbed or utilized and whatnot. And it's well researched, very well documented, that if the gut microbiome is unhappy, it will change the way at which you utilize those calories. So you'll stop absorbing micronutrients, all right? So things like zinc, B vitamins, iron, whatnot, stop getting absorbed if your gut's not happy with you. You know, it changes how many calories you absorb. Some bacteria will cause you to get more calories out of food than what you normally would otherwise. Things like that. So it's absolutely essential. As far as neurotransmitters go, well, they link in very intricately with how the gut functions because they control how the gut moves and whatnot. And then on top of that too, it controls how you feel. So if you're starting to get really buggered while you're training and you're getting cooked and gassed out earlier, well, it's because your neurotransmitters aren't right. If you're not sleeping well, it's because your neurotransmitters aren't right. If you're excessively stressed, if you're not handling stress well, it's because your neurotransmitters aren't right. And that's why we focus on them so heavily, because they control everything. Without looking after those two very key aspects of health and life, you feel like shit, and you generally look like shit, and that's why we look to cover those and then do all the calories and macro stuff on top of it too.
How important is it in relation to body composition? So, and can you also just explain a little bit about what stress actually is and the different types of stress that a client may actually experience?
It's a really broad question, so I'm going to answer it very generally. I mean, obviously in the course we're going to go over that in much more depth because stress applies to a whole heap of things. But stress, look, first of all, I'll just define it. Stress is anything which causes a change. So any change in your body is a stress. So be it, you change the amount of food you're eating, you change the amount of weights you're lifting, anything like that, that's a stress, okay? So if you are increasing the amount of change, you are increasing stress, you are adding in some sort of stress, okay? So that's what stress basically is. Now, what we refer to, or what I normally refer to, is the 5 major stresses in life, okay? These are your emotional stress, so stuff like your relationships, your family, those sorts of things. Your psychological stress, so stuff like your work stress from work, stress from your environment, things like that are causing you to think. The stuff that really keeps you up at night, when you're sitting in bed and you're thinking, oh shit, I haven't emailed that client, or I haven't done this, or I haven't done that. That's the psychological. There's the physical stress, so are you training enough, or how much are you training? Do you get enough sun? Those sorts of things. There is the resting stress, so are you sleeping enough? Are you getting enough rest? Are you balancing out your yin, your yang, where you're go, and where you're, no, you're not doing anything. So you need to look at that stress as well. And the final one's your digestive stress. So what are you putting into your body? What is going down into there? Is your digestive system happy? Okay, and so we look at balancing out all of those, because if they become imbalanced, it just stops working for you.
What's the biggest thing you've learnt along the way as a coach? And a competitor, but as more as a coach?
Stress. Stress is the biggest thing by far, and I learned that both as a competitor and as a coach.
Yeah.
If you overstress a client or you overstress yourself, your body goes backwards straight away. You need to balance out those 5 stresses that I mentioned just before. You cannot work against your body. You cannot, if your body is stressed and it doesn't want to budge in one way, it will not budge. So if you have a client who is not losing fat because they're excessively stressed, and you add more stress in by taking those calories out or increasing that cardio, you're not going to have a good time. It's just not going to work whatsoever. So that's really the biggest thing that I learned by far with both myself and with my clients.
If you are interested in participating in the physique coaching apprenticeship and learning off all of these guys, all right, so we've got Scott Goble, Luke Tully, Rawdon Dubois, all right, obviously James, Alana Pooley, Kevin Ellis, a few others, all right, so please click the link below. We are only taking 30 people into the actual apprenticeship, all right, so it's not for everyone. We need people that are going to be motivated and actually want to take their business to the next level, all right, so we are only letting people in through a strategy call, all right, which will be myself. So if you are interested, click the link below and we'll book you in and get you started.